Welcome to today's SamvaadX News Podcast. Today is Thursday, April 17th, and the time as we record this is 8:04 a.m. I'm Raj Patel.
And I'm Priya Shah.
So we're going to dive straight into the big developments, nationally and internationally, from the last 24 hours or so.
Oh, good.
Let's start with the Supreme Court. They're still looking closely at the Waqf Amendment Act, and it sounds like something, well, pretty unusual might be happening.
Absolutely. I mean, the court even hinting at a partial stay, that's quite exceptional. It suggests they've found some, really fundamental questions about the act's legality. And this whole concept they're exploring, whack by user. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. The idea that just using a property for religious purposes long enough makes it whack property, even without paperwork.
Exactly. It's a potential legal curveball. Think about older mosques, temples, other places maybe lacking formal deeds. Huge implications.
Right. Almost like religious adverse possession. And the court wasn't shy asking the center that direct question.
Oh, yeah. About Muslim representation on Hindu trusts. Say it openly.
That really gets to the heart of the potential asymmetry, doesn't it?
It does. And the court's worried about the practical side, too. Like potential chaos if this wacko by user status gets denotified for places without deeds.
You can see how that could lead to a lot of disputes.
For sure. And remember, the Act gives WACA boards significant administrative powers already. Plus, there's the political angle, especially the contention we're seeing in West Bengal.
Definitely stirring things up. Okay, let's shift gears to another quite politically charged story. The National Herald case, the ED probe, Robert Vaudreur being questioned again.
Right, 5 hours yesterday, summoned again today. And predictably, the Congress party is out protesting.
We've seen this pattern before, haven't we? Accusations of political vendetta.
Absolutely. Congress is directly linking the ED action to Rahul Gandhi pushing for the caste census and more reservations. They're framing it as government intimidation using agencies like the ED, income tax, CBI.
And the BJP's response?
Pretty standard. They refute the vendetta claims, say the law's just taking its course, potential corruption, accusing the Gandhis of misappropriating public property via National Herald.
While Congress insists no crime happened, no illegal transfer occurred.
Exactly. Two totally different narratives. It makes you think about the role of these agencies. Even legal experts like Aryama Sundaram say the complexities do warrant investigation.
So there are legal points beneath the political noise.
Often, yes. But this dynamic agency action, opposition cries foul, it's become a very familiar part of our political landscape.
Okay, back to the Supreme Court for a moment. The next Chief Justice of India.
Yes, CJI Sanjeev Khanna has nominated Justice B.R. Gavai based on seniority. That's the convention.
So Justice Gavai takes over. When is that?
He'll be sworn in May 14th, 2025. And interestingly, his tenure begins right as the court is hearing these major cases, like the Waqf Act challenge we just talked about.
And he's recently spoken about the Constitution's role in India's strength.
Yes, around Ambedkar Jayanti. It perhaps signals his focus, constitutional principles, social justice, as he prepares to take the helm.
Let's head south to Karnataka. The governor has forwarded that Muslim reservation bill to the president.
That's right, the 4% quota within the OBC category. So the decision now really rests with the central executive.
And these religion-based reservation policies are always constitutionally sensitive, aren't they?
Extremely. And politically charged. The governor sending it to the president rather than signing or rejecting it himself might indicate he has doubts about its constitutionality.
Or maybe wants the center to handle the political fallout.
Could be, especially with all the other reservation controversies bubbling up in Karnataka, like the caste census issues. It highlights that federal pension, those checks and balances between state and center on social laws.
Speaking of the center, PM Modi was in Haryana, launching a lot of development projects.
Yes, 10,000 crore worth. And the timing, launching them on Ambedkar Jayanti, seems significant. Well, it links the government's infrastructure push, like the big expansion of the Yaninagar thermal power plant, with ideals of inclusive growth, social upliftment, things Ambedkar championed. It broadens the political appeal.
Makes sense. Augmenting power capacity is crucial anyway.
Absolutely, a key development goal.
Okay, let's look internationally now. U.S. Vice President JD Vance is visiting India soon.
Yes, a 3-day visit. Meeting PM Modi, trips to Jaipur, Agra. It definitely underscores the deepening strategic partnership.
What's likely on the agenda?
The usual suspects, really. Trade, despite those ongoing tariff discussions, defense, security, stability in the Indo-Pacific, tech collaboration, global challenges.
So even with potential trade friction, the strategic alignment is strong.
That seems to be the message. Shared geopolitical interests, like counterbalancing China, and partnerships in defense and tech are likely the big focus areas.
And that ties into the wider U.S.-China trade situation, which seems quite volatile. Where does India fit in?
It's a tricky spot. You've got the U.S. threatening huge tariffs on Chinese goods, China apparently halting Boeing deliveries, President Trump feuding with Harvard. It's messy. The WTO even projects a contraction in global trade.
So challenges for India.
Definitely. Potential slowdown in IT hiring, general economic uncertainty, maybe getting caught in tariff crossfire.
But opportunities too.
Possibly.
Right.
Like increased U.S. energy purchases or companies diversifying supply chains away from China. Think Apple making more iPhones here. That's why India is pushing for free trade agreements with other nations.
Trying to hedge its bets.
Exactly. Some U.S. officials might see Modi as a friendly partner, but U.S. economic policy is just so unpredictable right now. India needs to cooperate globally, but also manage this tariff shock.
India's also been clear on UN Security Council reform again.
Yes, reiterating opposition to new criteria like religion for membership. India, as part of the G4 with Brazil, Germany, Japan, wants reform based on objective factors.
Like population, economy?
Right. Population, economic size, contributions to peace and security, willingness to take global responsibility. Religion, they argue, is potentially divisive and subjective. It underlines India's push for a bigger role based on capacity, not labels.
Okay. And a positive note on the diplomatic front with Saudi Arabia.
Yes, good news for Hajj pilgrims. Saudi Arabia reopened the portal for an extra 10,000 Indians after some diplomatic engagement.
That's significant given how important the Hajj is.
It really is. Securing that extra quota shows effective diplomacy and good bilateral cooperation on something that matters directly to many citizens.
Right. Let's bring it back home. State-level developments. West Bengal. The violence in Murshidabad sounds serious.
Very concerning. An SIT, a special investigation team, has been formed to probe it. Reports mention 3 fatalities.
And the political reaction has been strong.
Intense. The BJP immediately sought the governor's intervention, filed a petition in the Supreme Court. UP CM Adityanath accused CM Banerjee of letting rioters act with impunity, leading to sharp retorts from her, of course.
Security's being beefed up.
Yes. Joint operations planned between the BSF and state police. Investigations suggest there were warning signs, rally calls on social media beforehand, over 1,000 accounts blocked, many arrests made.
Is there a link being drawn to the Waqf Act tensions we discussed?
It's possible. That, along with broader political polarization, is likely being looked at. This incident clearly escalated from a local issue to a national political flashpoint. The role of social media in amplifying things is definitely under scrutiny.
Okay. Meanwhile, in Karnataka, that caste census report is causing major waves.
Huge waves. The dominant Vokaliga and Virashaiva Lingayat communities are strongly objecting. They're calling the submitted report unscientific and demanding it be rejected for a fresh survey.
Why? What are their concerns?
They're worried it undercounts them, which could impact their reservation benefits and political clout. They allege flaws in the methodology, like how subcastes were divided, households missed.
So leaders from both communities are pushing back.
Yes. Vokaliga legislators, led by Deputy CM D.K. Shivakumar, met to discuss it. And Lingayat leader Shamanuru Shivashankarappa explicitly warned the Congress government, CM Sitaramaya, against accepting it, threatened joint opposition with the Vokaligas.
Wow. That's significant pressure. What's the CM saying?
Sitaramaya has assured no injustice will be done, and there's a cabinet meeting scheduled for today, April 17th, to discuss it. But it really shows how explosive caste data is and the challenges in collecting and using it. Even dissent within the ruling Congress highlights this intersection of caste and politics.
Elsewhere, the Supreme Court stepped in on an environmental issue in Telangana.
Yes, criticizing the state government over alleged illegal tree felling near Hyderabad University. They've extended the stay order.
Did they sound convinced the damage could be undone?
Not really. The court questioned if the reportedly cleared 100 acres could even be restored. They declared they'd go out of the way to protect the environment. An IAS officer also got a notice for reposting an AI image related to the land.
So judicial intervention adding to political heat there.
Definitely. Potential challenges for CM Revanth Reddy's government. It reinforces the judiciary's role in environmental governance.
We're also seeing extreme weather across India, aren't we?
Stark contrasts. Severe heat wave in the northwest and central parts Delhi NCR under yellow alert, temperatures hitting 41-42 degrees C, could reach 45 degrees C elsewhere.
That rain elsewhere.
Heavy rainfall forecast for the Northeast, potential flooding in Assam, Meghalaya, parts of Odisha. Warnings also for Uttarakhand, UP, MP.
It highlights the climate volatility.
It really does. India's diversity, but also vulnerability. Potential climate change links, of course. Big challenges for public health, farming, power grids, disaster management.
On a more positive note, a breakthrough in that Uttarakhand tunnel.
Yes. The Silkyara-Barkhand Tunnel Project. They've connected both ends. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari called it a historic milestone.
That's the tunnel where the workers were trapped last year, right?
The very same one. So this breakthrough is significant. It's part of the Chardham All-Weather Road Project, crucial for connectivity. It turns a site of crisis into a symbol of progress.
Good to hear. And quickly, Andhra Pradesh PolySet deadline extended.
Just an update for students, more time to apply for polytechnic diplomas. Deadline now April 17th, exam on the 30th. Standard stuff.
Okay, let's turn to business and the economy. Wipro's results.
A good jump in Q4 net profit, up 26% year-on-year. Beat expectations, actually. Rs 3,570 crore.
But the market wasn't entirely happy.
No. Their revenue guidance for the next quarter, Q1 FY26, was weak. That led to a 3% dip in their ADRs. On the plus side, attrition dropped to 15%, and they actually added a few hundred people, net headcount up by 614.
So mixed signals for the IT sector.
Seems like it. Decent current performance, but a cautious outlook suggests potential headwinds ahead. Analyst recommendations are all over the place: buy, sell, hold.
Interesting. And Paytm's founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma surrendering stock options.
Yeah, a significant chunk, 2.1 crore ESOPs, valued somewhere between roughly Rs 500 crore and maybe up to Rs 1,800 crore, depending on how you calculate.
Oh, wow.
Reports link it to the ongoing SEBI scrutiny and directives, especially around Paytm Payments Bank. The company's facing serious regulatory challenges. This move might suggest continued pressure, perhaps a governance adjustment.
And trouble for BlueSmart, the EV ride-hailing service.
It seems so. Reports say they've halted bookings in NCR and Bengaluru. This coincides with a SEBI investigation into alleged fund diversion by its parent company, Gensol Engineering.
SEBI took action against Gensol.
Yes, market ban for the company and promoters. It's being called an EV scam by some, impacting the startup scene. Gensol shares took a hit. Definitely raises governance questions in that sector.
Okay, on a brighter note, retail inflation.
Reportedly at a multi-year low. Some say 5+ years, others 6+ 8. Either way, it's very low.
That's good news, right?
Definitely positive. Increases purchasing power for people, reduces costs for businesses, and crucially, gives the RBI more wiggle room on monetary policy. Maybe potential for interest rate cuts down the line to boost growth.
And India's exports hit a record.
Yes. Record total exports in FY25. $820.93 billion, up 5.5% from the previous year. Merchandise exports alone were $437.4 billion.
Even non-oil exports did well.
Grew by 6%. Pretty impressive given all the global trade tensions and economic uncertainty. Suggests some underlying competitiveness. And record cargo on national waterways points to better logistics, too.
More good news. The monsoon forecast.
Looks positive. IMD is forecasting an above-normal southwest monsoon for 2025, around 105% of the long-period average, with the usual error margin.
That's the second year in a row for an above-normal forecast.
Yes. Great news for agriculture, higher output, better rural incomes, replenishing reservoirs. Also good for sectors relying on rural demand, like FMCG. Could help keep food inflation down, too.
Okay, let's look at tech and innovation. Quantum computing seems active.
It does. Q-Mini Labs launched Q-Shield, a domestic quantum-resilient security solution backed by the National Quantum Mission. And QPAI announced India's first indigenous 25-qubit quantum computer.
So India's building its own quantum ecosystem.
Seems like it. Growing, diverse, and with government support. Exciting stuff.
Progress on hydrogen fuel, too.
Yeah, the focus continues on using green hydrogen to decarbonize heavy industries like fertilizers, cement, steel, and also for storing renewable energy. India's first indigenous hydrogen fuel cell C vessel was hailed as a success.
And linking it with nuclear power.
There are discussions about potential synergies, using off-peak electricity from nuclear plants, like the operational RAPS-7, for electrolysis to produce green hydrogen. Needs supportive policies, but it's an interesting idea for hybrid energy systems.
Starlink potentially investing in India.
Union Minister Piyush Goyal met with a Starlink delegation. They discussed future investment plans. Starlink could really boost broadband, especially in remote areas.
But they need approvals first.
Absolutely. They have to navigate the regulatory landscape. But the fact that a minister met them suggests serious consideration.
And rules for gas meter accuracy?
The government's drafting rules under the Legal Metrology Act for piped natural gas, PNG meters, basically to make sure billing is accurate as PNG networks expand, protecting consumers.
Right. Let's switch to sports. IPL's delivering drama already.
Oh, yeah. First super over of IPL 2025. DC beat RR in that nail-biter. Mitchell Stark's final over was key. Sanju Samson retired hurt. Karun Nair out for a duck. Crazy finish.
And CSK bounced back.
They did. Snapped a 5-match losing streak, beat LSG. MS Dhoni and Shivam Dubey played crucial roles. Plus, PBKS defended the lowest total ever in IPL history against KKR. Incredible stuff.
What's coming up?
MI versus SRH and Wankhede. Expecting a high-scoring game there. Also, some player replacements. CSK got Ayush Mahatre for the injured Ruturaj Gaikwad. SRH signed Smaran Ravichandran for Adam Zampa.
And off-field issues.
BCCI addressed that bat check controversy involving Sunil Narine and issued warnings about match-fixing approaches, keeping things clean.
Moving to badminton, Sudirman Cup squad announced.
Yes, a strong 14-member squad for the mixed team championships in China. Top players like PV Sindhu, Lakshya Sen, HS Pranoy are in. Shows India's ambition in badminton is growing.
Medals in other sports, too.
Yep. Asian U18 athletics. Nitin Gupta got silver in the 5,000-meter race walk. ISSF World Cup in Lima. India bagged gold, silver, bronze on day one. Suruchi Singh won back-to-back golds in shooting, beating Manu Baker in one final.
Wow, impressive.
And at the Indian Open Athletics in Chennai, Yashvir Singh won the men's javelin, just edging out Kishore Jena. So yeah, talent emerging across the board.
And finally, cricket at the Olympics. Venue confirmed.
Yes, for LA 2028. Matches will be at a temporary facility at the fairgrounds in Pomona, Southern California. Good to have clarity as cricket makes its return after more than a century.
Okay, let's wrap up with what's trending in India. The social buzz. Some strange stories.
Ah, yeah. That story from UP about a mother allegedly eloping with her daughter's fiancé just days before the wedding, intending to marry him. That certainly went viral.
Taps into themes of betrayal, social norms.
Exactly why these things catch fire online.
And the High Court ruling on police protection for eloping couples.
The Allahabad High Court said protection isn't automatic if couples marry against parents' wishes. They need to show a real threat perception. It's about balancing rights with police resources, basically.
A reminder, too, about the dangers of social media stunts.
Sadly, yes. A woman reportedly drowned in the Ganga filming a reel in Uttarakhand. Another man filmed himself lying on a railway track as a train passed over.
Just awful. Risks taken for online attention.
A really worrying trend. Put safety way behind likes and shares.
And finally, someone moving from Noida to Goa.
Yeah, a user on X shared their experience rent dropping from Rs 64,000 in Noida to Rs 19,000 in Goa and feeling much happier. It struck a chord, sparking conversations about urban costs versus lifestyle choices.
Definitely food for thought. Well, that covers a huge amount of ground from the last day or so.
It really does. From Supreme Court deliberations and political battles to global trade shifts, sporting highs, and even viral social stories. It shows how interconnected everything is.
Absolutely, and how fast things move. It really does require staying engaged and thinking critically about all the information coming at us.
Couldn't agree more. Constant learning and evaluation are key.
See you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to SamvaadX News podcast channel and hit that bell icon.